Hello, everyone. I'm here today with my friend Jivanta. Jivanta has lived most of her spiritual life with Ananda in Assisi, Italy. So even though I've met her a few times when I visited there, this is also my opportunity to find out a little bit more about my Guru Bhai than I know now. At the end of it, I'll know more about her as well as you will. Hello, Jivanta. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Asha. Thank you for this opportunity.
Very happy to have you here. So I'm going to ask right off. So, where were you born? How did you grow up? What was your early life like? What was important to you? Who were you before you met Master? Is really what I'm asking.
This is always a good question. So, I grew up in Italy, in North Italy, that is a region called Veneto, and is a little city close to Venice, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
So, my childhood was very happy and joyful, and like I was grow up with love in a beautiful family and a little brother too. So, I say I really had a happy childhood. And then I grew up and I went to high school, and then it was my time to choose.
You're going too fast. I have to ask you a couple of questions there.
Sounds good.
Was your family Catholic? Were you practicing Catholics?
Yes, my family was Catholic, and yeah, Jesus was always very present in our life, and also for me was very, very present. I always had time also at the church, but also we had like some group where during the summer we went to do some scout camp or things like that. So it was a reality very light also. It was not very strict on you go to church and you learn this. It was always a way of spirituality, I would say, but it was not yet the concept of God that I was looking for. It was still like too abstract for me.
Was Jesus a living person to you or not?
Yes, it's funny because when I was little, I still have this memory, and actually, I also find out that I still have some paper where I wrote down some song for God and things like that. I was just have this tree in my garden where was my writing room basically. So I was always like running around the garden and like climb up the tree and write down song for God, and yeah, Jesus was very alive for me, especially when I was little. Before, I don't know, I think under 15 years, I was really like living with Jesus in a way. But then, you grow up and this time of teenager can come and you feel like, oh, this is stupid, this is silly, what is these things? You cannot like think there is Jesus that is protecting you and do all of these song for him or like talk with him. So I start to go in this rebellion phase. Also because I study like a lot of philosophy and things like that during my high school. So, your kind of thought and idea somehow get like all upside down and you think, okay, so maybe my reality is not my true reality. So I start to let it go, these things, let it go with the scout camp or like be more with this group of devotee, I would say really devotee at that time. Mm-hmm. And I stop like and I say, I don't feel that God is something that is part of me or that God is a reality for me. And also,
when you had to let go of God like that, did it frighten you? Did it make you sad, or were you happy to be liberated?
No, honestly, I felt like when I was a child, I felt I was very happy inside and I was very, how do you say, fulfilled. Mm-hmm. And after there was this period of time where really I felt I was empty. I was, of course, going out for party and disco and drinking and all of these things that teenager does, and society is kind of pushing you to do. So I was use a lot of makeup and always change my dress and short dresses and things like that. So It was really not me. I was in this space where I was just trying to find a good or a perfect image of myself where I can relate on. But I was inside in my heart knowing that that will never really happen, and I would be never really happy on just be perfect from outside. So I was going diet and try to be really fit or always do a lot of exercise. But I saw the level of happiness really drop down in my life.
Was this was this high school? Was this during high school, or was this beyond that also?
Yeah, this was high school time. So, and then there was a very important moment in my life. It was at the end of my high school. I was just going to do the last exam. It was a couple of weeks before that my little cousin, that she was only 11 years old, just died like that, like she had an heart attack. And that was just my moment of stop my life and think, okay, life can end tomorrow. And what do you have in your hand? Like just beautiful dress, a good body, and whatever. And I start to feel like, okay, it must be something more. Life cannot be like that. I had a boyfriend at that time, and my life was somehow perfect, My graduation was quite good level, good exam, and things like that. Then I choose my university. And also over there, I have always good result. I finished my university in the exactly time. So from the outside, everyone thought that Julia, that was my name before, it was a perfect girl. And she was so sweet and calm and beautiful and whatever. But, I didn't feel like that at all. And I really felt like, okay, so what's my next step? Now I almost finished my degree, and I was studying architecture at that time. So, also over there, the outside form is what is important. So I was like, no, this is not me at all. And what's my next step? Okay, get married and have a child and go on with this life as everyone does. And I felt like, no, this is not what I want to do. And just before take my last exam for have my degree, I got this opportunity to go to Yellowstone to do this exchange, like a visa that you can work 3 months and travel 1. And I say, this is what I need, because what else? If I finish now my exam, everyone would push me to choose a second degree on something. And I feel like, okay, I'm going to lose a couple of more years. And then I again at the same point of emptiness inside. So I felt, okay, let's go. Let's try something new. My English, it was terrible. I mean, all my exam was always good, except of English. I was really like so low and bad. So I felt like, okay, what is important if I want to travel and know more people and expand also out of Italy? I need at least to have a little knowledge on English, a little bit. I mean, my English is not perfect at all, you can hear it, but at least like be able to communicate with people. So I went there, and it was so funny because I was working.
You said Yellowstone. You mean Yellowstone National Park?
Yeah, so I went to Wyoming, and I spent like there 3 months. And it was so funny because I was working in this restaurant in Yellowstone in Old Faithful, so where you have all of these beautiful geyser and just like animals crossing the street and no cars, basically. So it was very beautiful, and it was a very uplifting time. But it was so funny because the first week I was in the kitchen helping, and they were asking me to bring, like some object, and I was always coming up with the wrong one because I was not able to understand which one they were asking me for. So it was like 2 weeks of, oh my God, my head was just crashing down. And then I woke up one day and I started to understand. And then it was kind of going on, and it was beautiful because I can really see like how it's important to that attunement with everything, but also with language happens like that. Like if you get in tune with something, then it just comes out from the inside, and then it's really beautiful to see and also experience in your life. And then just after that summer, I went back, and I went once. It's very funny because my story on finding master book is basically the same that Swami had. So I went in this bookstore, and it was very rare for me because usually I know which book I want, so I buy online.
Mm-hmm.
But that day, for some reason, I felt, okay, you know, I just want to smell like books around me. So I went inside with any ambition, just look around. And here is why my cousin's story was very important, because I found the autobiography and I didn't know anything about yoga, spirituality, or all of these kind of things. But Master has the same eyes of my cousin. So I just felt so attracted, and I felt like, okay, she is telling me something, so I need to read this book.
So I just want to go back to that. So you pick up the book and you look at it. You're looking at Master, but you see your cousin looking through.
I didn't even take the book. He was just really like, I don't know, 5 meters away from me. But I saw these two eyes just looking at me. And it was the sweetness that I remember my cousin's eyes, and the love and the joy. And I felt like, wow, I need to go at least to check that book.
Isn't that
and
I just want to ask you for just a second. Do the eyes physically look the same, or do you think your cousin was talking to you through those eyes? Have you thought of that? I mean, if you look at a photograph, do they actually physically look the same?
No, they're not looking the same.
Oh,
I mean,
interesting.
from that moment, I saw how much Master eyes can change every day. Like wherever you're asking, they change. And I really thought in that moment was Master choosing me. I didn't choose Master. I know that he was choosing me. And he just find that my cousin was like the most close reality on spirituality for me at that moment, because I start to have this inner contact with her, you know, like I had this dream couple of nights, then she passed away, to see this butterfly coming into my heart. And like the day after, when I woke up, I was totally a different person. I was like, now I take on my life and I do what is important. So I start to develop this inner contact with her, you know, like feeling like she's my angel guiding me. And I felt like she was guiding me to Master. And so this is why she's very important.
And either God was using her, or in fact, her soul and yours really do have, which is more likely. Okay, so now we're looking at the book Autobiography 5 meters away, and your cousin is telling you to go pick up the book. So we go over to the books and go on with the story.
And I felt, okay, I don't know who is this guy. At the first moment, I thought it was a lady, a woman. And then I was like, I don't know. And then I checked and I understood that was actually a man and was Paramahansa Yogananda. And I was like, okay, let's buy this book. And just behind that, there was Raja Yoga book, the book from Swami. I didn't know anything about yoga, but I thought, maybe this book will help me. So I bought both of them, basically. And I went home and really read the autobiography was just, I think, a couple of weeks. I really drink it. And it was just, I felt like my consciousness, my life was changing, just staying inside the same room, because I felt like after that period of really rebellion, I took some time for just really let it go, all of this party style, or a lot of my friends that I felt like I was not in tune anymore with them. So I had this period where I was just searching for something, and I was spending so much time just in my room, you know, like just by myself, and didn't even want to do anything, just read and find something that was really meaning for me in my life.
Right.
So I really had 2 weeks where I was full on into autobiography. And at the end, there was written this story, this part where it's written what is Ananda, where is it? And one of the last line was, Ananda was also Assisi. And I was like, wow, I need to go there, you know. But actually it took me almost a year before I was able to reach it. And probably was also my inner growth, and I needed that time to do some more experience, because after I find this book, I didn't immediately feel that was my path. I felt like he knows a lot, I want to know more of this. But also, you know, I just went into spirituality and I felt like, well, let's see, maybe also something else is important. So I start to read a bit more different things. But it was also very interesting because I didn't feel that any other book or things that I was reading was feeling me as much as autobiography was doing. So probably it was a time where I needed to kind of when I was coming here, getting ready to just be here, you know? So I felt like it was this cleaning of, okay, my ego just kind of understood this and that, this doesn't work for me, and blah, blah, blah. So everything kind of worked out by itself.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I again had this opportunity the summer after going back to Yellowstone, and I did again 3 months there. So I explored more. And it was also very beautiful because on the autobiography, I saw that Master also went to Yellowstone. So I was like, wow, that's cool. So I was, okay, perfect. And then I didn't want to travel that month after, but I wanted to take it for my own. And I came back here in Italy and did this hike, like it's called San Francisco hike. And it was going to all the sacred place around Assisi and Umbria. So it was very funny because literally I woke up in Ananda until Ananda. So I came with this, my friend, and this huge big backpack. And we just arrived there for like 2 days, like for an introductory weekend. But the Sunday, I felt like from within, I'm not gonna leave. I'm gonna stay. I need to spend more time here. So I went to the reception to give back the key, and there everything happened. I was like, okay, but is there any opportunity to stay more time here, to just not even do course, but more spend time and get to know more these people and this reality and this practice? And it was like perfect coincidence because on the next day, on Monday, they were starting this program, Services Joy. And they say I was able to spend 2 weeks there and like give some service and have some lesson and all of these things. And I was like, I'm gonna do it. I didn't have any ticket back because we were tending. So I had my tent and I didn't have a train ticket back. So I was like, I don't care. I can stay 2 more weeks here and then finish my hike and then go back. So I also felt like it was also beautiful when I read that Master was so close with San Francesco, because I felt like the first day that I start in Laverna, I give this pray to San Francesco and say, okay, in this hike, I'm gonna find myself. And he literally walked me to Master. And then it was just so easy. I came here and I felt like, okay, this is my home, this is my place. And then my ego, you know, like I came here that I was 22. So like, you know, like in the middle of, okay, I want to express myself. I want to do things. So I was walking back after these 2 weeks. They were so beautiful and uplifting. But I also felt, you know, I just don't want to come back to only do service. I want to learn more on this teaching and I want to study more. I think I'm a lot Jnana Yoga as well, because I really love teachings and reading and doing these things. So when I was here in that 2 weeks, I find out that there was 10 years that this woman in the same little town where I was living, that is probably 2,000 people living there, was teaching Ananda Yoga since 10 years. Yeah. And I was like, wow. And the center was only 500 meters from my home. And no one told me. And then I figured it out that her daughter was at the school with me all of that time, like never in the same class, but I always knew her. So I knew all her son and daughter, but I didn't know this person that she's called Michela. And as soon as I came back, I felt like, okay, I'm gonna take an Ananda Yoga class, you know? And I went to her class and she's so light and joyful and beautiful. So I really love it. And as soon as we finished the class, she came to me and she said, so I think you're doing the Ananda Yoga Academy, right? And I say, no. And she said, you must do it. And I took it, you know, like as master telling me, this is your way. So I just did it. And literally my way to learn Ananda Yoga was in and out, because in a year I finished all my formation. And then Jada put me on teaching. So it was like, wow, okay, master, you know, it was kind of very, very fast. But I also felt like master is like that, because if you give him your heart, it's really like you make you fly, but not from the outside, from the inside. And I think more I spend time here with all those these beautiful gurubais and these wise men and women around, I really feel like it's nothing about the outside. It's just the attitude and the heart and the opening heart that you're trying to opening and experiencing this lifetime. I mean, living in a community is not what you're doing. And in an outer way, I'm happy because I love yoga, I love to move my body, and I love the service that Master asked me to do. So I'm really grateful for it. I think I would not be so happy, like be all the day, sit down, like in front of the computer. But above that is not just about what I'm doing outside. I really feel like it's just an inner grow, and wherever he will ask me to do, I think I will just doing it, because before I never really felt like I was completing myself. I always felt, this is my life, but it's not really my life. I'm surviving more than living. And now, wherever I'm doing, I feel I'm just living so much inside that all the rest doesn't really matter. So
it's wonderful. Now, Jivanta, you arrived after Swami Kriyananda had passed, and many people, including myself, of course, who came earlier, Swami passed in 2013, he played an important role in their spiritual life. So how does Swamiji figure in your spiritual life, since you never met him personally? Is he part of your inner reality, or?
Yeah, I think what I was saying before with this inner relation that I had to discover with my cousin, I thought was just an inner preparation to have a connection, a deep connection with Master and Swami. Because it's true, I don't have any story on truly live with him or spend time with him. But I think I have a lot of inner life with him, because I feel like he's always guiding me. Even on choosing this place, we were like, me and Ruby, like a couple of years ago, like kind of really like try to find a house around here, but no one was fitting with us. And at one moment we were so tired and felt like, we're just going to attend all the summer and then we will see. And that day that we say, I'm sure that Swami is guiding us, that exactly day this house came. And the nobility that this house has is not like really it's rich or nothing. It's just so simple and noble. And it's really like, I see, I mean, this is just very little example, but I have so many on inner life that I have with him, just how much he's guiding. And I feel like what I'm mainly trying to do, I think Swami is one of my best friends, even not like my best friend, just like on how much he's in my consciousness and how much I'm trying to get in tune with his consciousness. Sometimes I'm just working and I'm not even listening to his word, but Narayani's story was so inspiring for me, just like get in tune with that vibration, not even like understand. She was not even able to understand his word at the beginning, but just being that vibration. And I really feel like he's always with us, with me, with everyone that want to be in tune with him, because it's just so difficult in a way, but so simple in another to get in tune with him. Just even listen some of his songs, he just come and be present with you always. So
has it been his writings, his music? What part of it has been what has communicated Swamiji to you the strongest? Music, writing, what?
Honestly, all of them. But if I need to choose one, I think Swami chanting Om. That's where I really feel like he's filling up my consciousness and changing it from within, because all of the rest still be a bit of mental way, because I say I love reading, so I really love reading his book and think about them, blah, blah, blah. I love his music, I love singing it, but I feel like when he's chant home, he goes so deep inside myself that I always feel so transformed and transport in a different dimension. So I would say music.
Yeah, I mean Swamiji has a whole recording, like 45 minutes, where he just and he, I believe he chanted that whole time. I don't think it was a loop. I think he just stood in the recording studio and just chanted the Om over and over again. It might not have been the full 45, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. So I
Wow.
understand exactly what you mean. Very, very interesting. So just give me a moment here for a second. So do you ever regret what you didn't do because you never followed through and became an architect? Or, I mean, did you ever feel like you should have done something, or you wish you'd done something you didn't do?
No, honestly, I don't know, I felt I was just finish some karma because I love beauty. I also really love, and I'm not really rejecting what I study because I always thought I want to build my own house. So at the moment I have the competence at least to drive my own house. So I feel like I'm not regretting anything at all. And I think probably I would not be here if I didn't have that experience. Maybe, I don't know, I feel like that 3 year of studying, and then I did also like a master that was another year, but it was very important to feel like that kind of life was not my life. And I also did like, how do you say, a stage where I was also trying to figure it out, that job, like what that really means. Is not only be creative or like whatever. Then you need to see reality in front of your face, and then you have law and you have all of these restrictions, so your creativity is kind of killing down and killing down and killing down. So I don't know, I felt I had the experience of that, and I felt I have some knowledge now, because then it was also important because that was like a key passage in my life to see like, okay, don't look from the outside form, but learn how the beauty is coming from. So that was beautiful. Like, you cannot draw or project or design anything from your mind. You need to go to the center of that. And from that center, you can create beautiful space or beautiful design or beautiful things. And that lead me to this feng shui studying. So that was also very beautiful, like starting to learn how energy works. Mm-hmm. And I needed to learn before, like in spaces, okay, look, there is an energy behind. And if you use that energy and got in tune with that energy, look, your project came out very beautiful and perfect. And there is not much to do, not much to think. It's already there. You just need to discover where that is. Right. And that was like, okay, see from the outside and then think, okay, but if it works from outer things, how does it work from inner things? Right. So that was like very important for me, like see that beauty is not outside, but you need to find it inside. And then from the inside, it just blossom outside and shine out.
So I'm going to ask you a completely different question. How does living in community, what does living in community mean to you, and how does it affect your spiritual life?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think living in community is really just finding God. And it's not because you're all day long meditating or you're all day long praying or doing yoga or whatever. You know how it is living in a community. You basically need to fight for at that time in your life to have that practice or whatever. But it's always like send you back to your center and see, okay, outside, that is what's happening. Outside is how you're reacting. Outside is what life is going and happening. So what can you change inside? So it's really just a push on see yourself always and see yourself in others as well. Because, yeah, as I was saying, I feel like we as young generation, we are so lucky because all of you already had all of this experience, and every of your talk, yours, but also all the other Nayaswamis and other people here, always give you important message. And having constantly this message coming and input coming is always a way to working in yourself and say, okay, what else can I change? And maybe sometime you see like your ego say, okay, I know I need to change that, but whatever, not now, in a couple of weeks or whatever. But there is never this push from the outside. There is always this push of change yourself. That's what you have to do. That's the main goal in your life. It's really like always push you back to true principles. That I will say.
Yeah, that's the truth. How do you see, how would you define Ananda? I know in the next 20, 25 years, and I won't live to see most of it, but what do you think the essence of Ananda will be or should be going forward for the next, well, we're 50 years now, but for the next 50 years, you probably won't see all of it either, but what would be the essence that you would want to see going forward?
I think for me it was very touching once when I read Swami and also heard him in one talk say, Ananda is not a place, it's a state of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like, wow, this is very interesting. And what I discovered right now is like this lockdown is what is showing us. Like it's not a place, it's not people living together, is where is your consciousness all the time and how can you be in tune with that consciousness. And I really feel like we're living this age of Dwapara Yuga, of energy, of technology, and if you're using that right, this state of consciousness can travel everywhere. So yeah, community are so much important. I will suggest everyone, if they have opportunity, even just to create their own, as Swami is saying, finding happiness. That was really like a quote and a phrase that really got stuck in my mind. And now go and found your own community. You know, that was really like, okay, everyone can do that, but not from outside. Ananda is really like just a state of consciousness, and it can be everywhere. You can travel and have Ananda with you. So I feel like what will happen is like people consciousness will shift and rise up, and there will be more, yeah, as we were saying in the beginning, like global community, like we are all connected as we are doing right now. You're in US and I'm in Italy, you know, but Ananda is traveling everywhere. Ananda it can be everywhere if you want to be with Ananda. So I think that would be more the direction of just reach everyone where they are. Mm-hmm. And this, I think, is what also Swami and Master, as far as I don't know, in my humility, try to felt from within, maybe they want. Just not like going back to some place. That's beautiful. Going to retreat is very important. Everyone needs that space and time to recharge. So that's really, I'm not saying not go to any community or go and to retreat and recharge, but I'm just also say, if you want to be in Ananda, it's not you need to be in a place. You need to stay in that state of consciousness. And there are so many tools that you can have, like even just music, even just autobiography. I mean, I always traveling with autobiography with me, not even if I'm reading it, but just like, you know, having it with me. That's my state of consciousness, going back there. That's my vibration. Just keep it in my heart when I feel like so, I don't know,
yeah,
out of my center, you know, just like that's where we want to live. Yeah. So I feel like Ananda will be like that, spread out this consciousness. Absolutely. And then I'm sure that when this consciousness will spread, also community will happen, because it's what people want, you know. You want to spend time with people that have your same idea and consciousness and principles, but you don't want to check it and find it from outside. You want to first live that consciousness, and then everything will happen. I think really, if we all start to tune it more in how energy works, as I was saying with house before in architecture, you know, if you tune in with how energy works, then reality and physical matter will happen. So also community will happen.
That's superb. Thank you, Jivanta. I really appreciate just hearing all that you've been through and how beautifully God has led you step by step. So God bless you, dear sister. And thank you so much for sharing. What a joy.